Hey guys, I'm Mal today. So as most of you know, I've been on holiday within the U.S. at the moment, and at this point in time in Charlotte. So yeah, just enjoy myself, of course, over here in the United States. But if I'll give you guys just my take on what happened with New Zealand over over last weekend and kind of what they have to do to kind of rectify their mistakes throughout that series against the Irish. I mean, first of all, I just want to say a huge congrats to Ireland. I mean, they totally deserved to win that series, in my opinion. They were, really dominant, particularly within that second test, of course, in Dunedin. And yes, you may say the cards maybe overshadowed that victory for the Irish, but I don't really buy into that. I believe they really just built a lot of pressure from that game, and that's what got them over the line within that test. But yeah, particularly within the third test, the Irish were just sensational within that first half, and yeah, it took a lot really for the All Blacks if they wanted to kind of come back and win that game. Obviously, within the second half, I mean, they definitely had a resurgence. Particularly within you could say like the third quarter essentially of the game. And of that half, and no, they were pretty impressive actually. Tries through Arda Sevilla, Akira Ione, as well as Will Jordan. It was really impressive actually, and they kind of brought themselves back into it. But yep, but unfortunately, Ireland were just too strong on the day, and they really they clocked up a lot of points early, which kind of made it hard for the All Blacks kind of fought their way back into the game. But overall, All Blacks obviously, as most of you know, are in a very kind of hard predicament at the moment in terms of kind of the coaching coaches obviously involved, and obviously maybe what a lot of the media said is obviously the captaincy choice in which IanFoster has made in terms of electing Sam Cane. What was it, 2 years ago, I believe now. But there's a lot of obviously question marks. Following this result for New Zealand, and I mean, as you can see here, guys, New Zealand Rugby did kind of say this. I'll just read out for you just in case you guys haven't seen this. But they particularly said, CEO Mark Robertson, who of course has made a reputation for himself, particularly within and kind of disrupting, you could say Super Rugby, kind of getting Argentina out of it and South Africa, which I don't know if it's a mistake or not, but it's a lot of disruption, and that's obviously not what you want to see within Southern Hemisphere rugby. And he's I'm not going to really go in too deep into him because that's another time. But yeah, as he stated here, as you can see obviously here, guys, he stated that congratulations obviously towards the Irish team, which is fully deserved, which is outright obviously they clearly performed on the day. But he also mentioned that it was unacceptable for the All Blacks to kind of be in this situation, of course. But as you can see within the second quote, though, however, which is shown here, he does mention that he's now focused in trying to work with IanFoster as well as his team to understand what they have to do to kind of advance and kind of progress from the going into the Rugby Championships. So it'll be pretty interesting to see what happens there, because I'll be honest, guys, I've never actually seen this from a CEO to actually publicly kind of make this statement, because in my eyes, it's kind of maybe the last straw for IanFoster. Within this Rugby Championship, maybe there's a lot of pressure that's obviously being built on him, which is expected. Obviously, I'm not going to disagree with that, but it's just one of those things where I feel like I don't want to kind of come across in the wrong way, but just make sure, guys, what I'm about to say, I'm coming from a Springbok point of view, because as most of you know, guys, I'm a Springbok fan, and we saw a similar transition through South Africa rugby, before the Rugby World Cup in 2019, where they sacked their we sacked our head coach, obviously it was in, I believe, February or January, I believe, in 2018. And then we hired, of course, Vasil Erasmus, became the official head coach, I believe, in March 2018. And from there, obviously, he had a bit of time, throughout that year, and then going into the following year, which was the Rugby World Cup year in Japan, to kind of reshape the Springboks. And for a lot of people, saw, particularly from, if you haven't seen it, the Rising Sun in that documentary, he really had he had a lot of tasks to actually do in terms of that Springbok squad, and he really kind of reshaped them into that team that we all know, obviously within that Japan World Cup. And they really just persevered and obviously won the whole tournament. And I believe New Zealand Rugby may be on the same trajectory if they make the hard choice in understanding that maybe IanFoster's kind of reign, or his time in charge of the All Blacks hasn't been as successful as most people would expect. When you look at the percentages, actually, he's the lowest ranked win percentage rate, I believe, from any New Zealand coach, bar I think a few, but I think it's like what 66.66%. So yeah, it's crazy to hear that stat because obviously his predecessors, with Steve Hansen as well as this Sir Graham Henry, they were just brilliant. Obviously with the teams they had, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say that I'm not putting down IanFoster here. I actually think he's a great coach. Actually, it's just that in terms of from a tactical point of view, he's very under par. In my eyes, that's kind of a word I'm going to say. I'm not going to. I think he is actually a very good what's the word? He's a very good It's like he's good with the players. I think that's kind of what I forget what the word is. Like he has a good bond with most of the players, which is obviously what you need, and it's good actually skill to have with a lot of when you're doing coaching in that sense. But yeah, for this All Blacks team, they really do need this kind of step up their kind of performance in terms of getting those wins over the line. And yeah, I believe yes, obviously the talk may be that the two coaches that are seen maybe to take over if the possibility obviously does come up is either ScottRobertson, obviously from the Crusaders, and Joe Schmidt, who of course was the previous Irish head coach, but obviously is now within New Zealand, and I believe was obviously the assistant head coach, was part of the team for the Blues, Auckland Blues during that season. And yeah, I mean obviously he's joined up with the New Zealand to be a selector as well, so he really has a claim in terms of kind of understanding kind of the landscape and what New Zealand rugby is obviously going for at the moment. And yeah, it's a really difficult choice really if they were to make that. In my eyes, I think it's easy. I mean, you have to go with ScottRobertson, but I just feel like he's someone who can definitely kind of reshape the team in my opinion, and obviously can improve a lot of players in that sense. I mean, I'd love to see, kind of him bring on, a few of his Crusaders boys into this side. I mean, look, I'm a Blues fan, guys. All of you know this, but I fully love the, kind of the idea of, bringing maybe Cullen Grace up into the All Blacks, as well as maybe, I don't know. I mean, Leicester's already there, so that's obviously good to see. But I think like maybe even Tom Christie, he's a great player. And yeah, I mean, there's a few other players I can mention, but I think, yeah, in terms of maybe like the starting lineup as well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens because, I mean, just going off, the points of, Scott, the head coaches and all that, IanFoster, I think the one thing which a lot of people can kind of maybe agree on, obviously you may not agree, but is probably his selection in terms of captaincy, obviously with Sam Cane. I mean, I believe, look, he's a hell of a player. Sam Cane is one of the best, kind of loose forwards and that New Zealand actually has in terms of kind of going into the breakdown, winning the ball. From a tackling point of view, he's brilliant. So he's definitely a great player, and yeah, he has all the aspects which you kind of like as an All Black. And I'm not saying he's not an All Black, guys. That's far from it. But in terms of captaincy, that's another issue. And I believe because he's been held as a captain, obviously it relies on him to start more, and that's what you expect from a captain. But as you saw within that third test, he was brought off for Papali'i within the 60th minute, and that just kind of for me just doesn't show signs of kind of leadership in the way that in which you need a leader throughout the whole game, not throughout 60 minutes. And and obviously from there they put Artis Villa as captain, which was kind of a hint. This is the least of why of who might be the captain next if another coach comes in. But yeah, for me, I mean, it's also that loose forward trio. I mean, that's another mistake in which the All Blacks haven't been able to kind of discover and who's their starting loose forward trio. I mean, also going back from a Springbok point of view, you do the likes of, Khaleesi, Peter Sefton-Toit, and Dwayne Vermeulen, which was like, the guaranteed free, and you would never change that. Even if you were having, every player can obviously have a bad performance, guys, but they would always stick with them. Rassi always believed in these players and just stuck with the same free most of the time. Obviously, he adapted it through a few games, of course, and obviously you have to make those tactical substitutions. But with during IanFoster's time, guys, I mean, he definitely switched that loose forward pack a lot, and he really hasn't kind of found guaranteed trio really within that loose forward section. I mean, of course, Artis Villa is you could say is the guaranteed player. I believe that he's gone with most games, particularly within that number 8 spot. But again, I mean, I would assume Akira should be the number 6 who's a guaranteed. But of course, he's gone with ScottRobertson in that position, which I find strange because it's kind of hinting more that he's following more of a Northern Hemisphere tactic in the sense where you have more people within the locks, of course, and win the layouts. But I don't believe the All Blacks should be doing that because they need more mobility, if that makes sense, within that sixth position, because that's what the All Blacks are known for. They need someone to drive in and kind of get around players and do the dirty work, really. And I believe Akira can, obviously has the ability to do that, and we saw that within the third test. Yeah, it's one of those situations where if they can understand that those two are guarantees, and then obviously you choose your pick of number 7. If you want to put Artisifia at 7, or if you want to put Delta Papali, who I believe should be the starting 7. Yeah, it's obviously up for debate, and that's for another video, guys. But it is just very fascinating to see, the whole All Black situation, guys. And look, I'm a massive fan of the All Blacks, of course. I'm always going to be in support of my Southern Hemisphere, kind of teams in that sense. But I always have a lot of respect for the Northern Hemisphere because they've really improved throughout the last few years, and you have to give them credit. They've been sensational, really. I mean, particularly within that that last Autumn Nations, they were brilliant. With Ireland obviously beating New Zealand then. I believe Scotland had a win over Scotland, and Wales had a win over Australia. Same with England. England beat South Africa. I was there for that game. And you also had, France beating New Zealand. So yeah, there are a lot of good results there, really, for the Northern Hemisphere, which is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, from an overall perspective, I just think the All Blacks obviously have a lot of work to do, and for me, I'm actually excited because if a coach, I truly believe a coach should, the All Blacks need to get the coach in now. That's kind of what I think, because Lassie was given 18 months before the Rugby World Cup, and at the moment it's like we're in July, so it'll be a few less months, because it'll be July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, and then September. So it'll be around 15 months before the Rugby World Cup obviously starts. So or 15 to 16 months. I might have got my math wrong there, but obviously you don't want to waste time here if you're going to make that bold decision. So that's why it's going to be very interesting to see what New Zealand Rugby do in their decisions. But yeah, it's just it's going to be really fascinating to see what happens, guys. But anyway, guys, that's kind of what I just wanted to say. Just want to get that out there. Of course, I'm a massive fan of the All Blacks, and hopefully they come back. But again, just want to say a massive congratulations to Ireland, because they truly deserve to win that series, and they were brilliant on the day. And anyway, guys, I'm gonna leave it there. But guys, definitely comment in the video below, guys. Comment for this video, because I really want to see your kind of reaction towards my opinion on this. If you agree or disagree, just let me know, because I'm obviously up here. I will always reply to you guys as usual. And just have a good summer, guys. If you're having a summer, of course. Definitely, a lot of people need relax at the moment, and I desperately need it. But but I will be making a lot more videos. Within the next few weeks now. I'll probably make a video shortly. But anyway, guys, I'll leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for everyone who has watched. Definitely like and subscribe right now, guys. And I'll see you guys next time.